had to pay full price for the special seating for 700. It came from Hanover in Germany, with space underneath for the actors to change and be made up in view of the audience, all part of the Mnouchkin experience.
And what we've actually done is to cement as far as possible.
School children and students helped build the bars, with 2 dry stone wallers who worked for nothing.
You talk about community involvement, and you usually talk about going to community centres and art centres and things, but actually this is a completely different type of community involvement where the companies actually want to be involved in it, and it's marvellous, absolutely marvellous. The army are a hoot. I mean, to see the Royal Engineers, we said to them, look, we've got a problem upstairs because there are skylights and this place has got to be completely dark. And they said, don't worry, we'll put some urban camouflage. You know, and the idea of juxtaposing the army with theatre, with Ariane Mnouchkin, for God's sake, it's just extraordinary, extraordinary.
The greatest help of all, of course, came from Robin Mills itself, a working factory, in making the warehouse available and having strangers trample over their site.
There is an enormous disruption, but I am a fan of the Bradford Theatres group and was very concerned that the performance should be able to be staged in the area.
But to do it, they needed twice as much electricity as the whole mill complex normally uses.
It's not too big a problem. We've put up a big lighting rig up in the roof, like a rock and roll show type of thing, and once we got the points in off the girders and the beams, we haven't really had any major worries.
No worries so long as the generators work, 6 tons each. And by the way, even the cranes that lifted them in were supplied at cheap rates. "10 days to go, generators in, bars in place. But Anna Maria and her production manager still have no stage or scenery. It's in France, with 102 roadblocks between it and Calais.
Oh, crikey, what are you going to do?
It did get through to Green Gates eventually, last Friday, after the French truckers finally relented.
Et de quoi tu as besoin, c'est ça, là?
For the production manager, it means there's one less thing to keep him awake at night.
There have been 1 or 2 worrying periods when sleep has been the last thing on your mind, yes.
You lie awake at night thinking, have we done that?
Have I done this?
How can we
Have I
solve
done
that?
this? Yes. With something of this profile, you don't want anything to go wrong, so you're always thinking, oh, God, what have I forgotten?
By this week, there were staircases up to the theatre. They weren't asking David Mellor and Sir Peter Hall to use forklift trucks. The foyer downstairs had been transformed too, with calico, a bargain at a local market, and upstairs in the theatre, the French, the English, and even their interpreters were doing their stuff till late last night. To see the end result, people in the know are happy to travel.
If we were now in America and we were playing this in Los Angeles, people would come from New York. So I don't see why they can't come from a couple of 100 miles away from here, and indeed they are coming.
Dozens of British actors want to watch Mnouchkin's troupe, but what about you and me? Some of Anna Maria Will's staff saw it in Paris.
They were a bit nervous at having to sit through this French production of a Greek tragedy. I mean, my God, how high art can you get? But they came out gobsmacked because it's very immediate, it's very visual, and the simplicity of the production, the apparent simplicity of the production, absolutely reaches through to you.
Bradford's reaction is still awaited, but the famously demanding Mnouchkin is happy with Bradford, and most nights are sold out. The stage is set.
Patchy rain, sorry. We're up there off to the far northwest of Scotland.
Hotel warehouse. The cycle of plays, Les Atrides, is being staged in a theatre built in just 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, an unwanted warehouse at Robin Mills in Green Gates. Now, a spectacular theatre bar and restaurant, admired by the famous.
Well, it's incredible, this place. It's
Extraordinary what they've done to it.
4 months.
I love this sort of event, a sort of enormous theatrical event which cuts across all sorts of barriers of nationality and style and everything.
It's the first time in 21 years the Parisian director Ariane Mnouchkin has put on a show in Britain, and it's only on in Bradford.
I think this is a great night, not just for Bradford, though it is a great night for Bradford. It's a great night for the British theatre, because this company is world famous. They need a space like this. I think it's a miracle the way all this has been transformed. And
the world-renowned Parisian director Ariane Mnouchkin. Mixing with the celebrities there was our man Nick Powell.
It looked like this 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago like this. 1 week ago like this. And by last night, An unwanted warehouse at Robin Mills had become a bar and restaurant worthy of a major national theatrical occasion, with national figures to enjoy it.
Well, it's incredible, this place. It's extraordinary.
John Drummond, on the left, director of the government's European Arts Festival, had put his faith in Bradford to stage its centrepiece.
We knew that the place was marvellous and would actually adapt well, but it's come out even better than I thought. It's got a wonderful feeling, and, you know, something quite different and quite new about it, which I know is what Madame Mnouchkine likes. But she likes it, she believes that theatre is a total experience. It's about mixing with friends, it's about eating and having a drink.
I love this sort of event, sort of enormous theatrical event which cuts across all sorts of barriers of nationality and style and everything.
They'd stood and stared at what the designer from Bradford College had created. He loved it.
It's magic, and the people here are magic as well. And I think it'll be, hopefully, a big success.
I think this is a great night, not just for Bradford, though it is a great night for Bradford. It's a great night for the British theatre, because this company is world famous. They need a space like this. I think it's a miracle the way all this has been transformed, and I'm looking forward to my evening.
And so were the paying customers from London and Bradford, Edinburgh and Sussex.
It sounded wild, yes. It sounded wild, and it's more exciting than I imagined.
Well, I read about it in the Observer, and I thought I'd better keep my hand up with the chattering classes.
And to think we don't have to go anywhere now. We've got all the best in our hometown. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
Part of Ariane Mnouchkine's complete theatrical experience involves encouraging the audience, before sitting down, to pop under the seating to see the actors in makeup. The cycle of plays, Les Atrides, is full of music and colour. The night was hot and humid, but they held the audience. All Mnouchkine's actors are paid the same, and all help with chores behind the scenes. The dialogue's all in French, but there's enough tension, drama and movement to ensure everyone can understand what's going on. Under the director's anxious gaze, the sellout audience of 700 at a mill on the edge of Bradford enjoyed what many in the British arts world had waited 2 decades for.
Fantastic. Everything to say about it turns out to be true and even better.
Oh, the noise, the spectacle, the music. It's one of the best pieces of drama I think I've ever seen.
It was an experience of a lifetime, to be honest. Well worth it, worth all the effort, worth all the hassle. Absolutely phenomenal.
I feel so much richer and bigger as a person. It was absolutely spellbinding, wonderful.
An amazing evening, and I hope that to those that see it, they'll realise that it actually was worth the effort and the tremendous effort that's gone into bringing these folk over.
The theatre was similar enough to Paris to you? It matched Paris for you?
Well, it's not a question of matching or not matching. It's a question of maybe of happiness, and I think there was a moment of happiness.
This time next week, they'll be taking happiness to Montreal, and the theatre will be a warehouse again, without a use.